Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome one and all to another one of my live streams. I'm very pleased to announce that I'm working very closely with Justine Blanchard, the Body Confidence Buddy. Company is called Body Confidence Wellness. It's really, I would say, and forgive me if I get this wrong, it's using nature and outside to enable people to talk about those topics that they often keep hidden uh, in a safe environment. Am I close?
Absolutely. I mean, outside in nature is one of the environments I work in. If somebody wants to work on Zoom or in a room, we can do that too. But certainly getting out in nature is one of the best ways, and one of my favorite ways at the moment. So
Okay.
so yeah, it's fantastic way of coaching and having those beautiful conversations.
Can you talk to me a bit more about how you got here? I mean, we're going to be publishing, I'm very pleased to say, her origin story, which is going to cover this. But I wanted to ask, really, to talk about how you got here, because I don't think it was always your goal to end up doing this, was it? I mean, you've come here by route of
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say, to use a nature metaphor, my path has been meandering. It's had many forks in the road,
Sure.
and many bumps to step over, many roots to connect with.
Okay, I think
Um,
we may be stretching this analogy.
enough of the nature metaphors for you.
All right.
Yeah. So just over 10 years ago, I was the owner manager of a Curves Fitness for Women franchise in Hampton, where I live in Southwest London. And that was just such an incredible time of my life. I worked with so many women of different shapes and sizes, different physical abilities, different goals. I mean, it was really transformative to watch the growth of all of these women, and also the growth of myself. It was an incredible time of my life, an incredible transformative time of my life,
Where were
and a
you
time.
based at that time? Because we can't, and I'm talking for the world as a whole, can't help but notice a certain twang in your
Sure.
voice.
Yeah. So Hampton is Southwest London. I have actually
Mayo.
been in this local area for it will now be almost 24 years, if you can believe that. But yeah, so I've been so I was the owner manager of Curves in Hampton for almost 6 years. And when I decided to make the transition to sell the franchise and move along to being a sole trader and doing my own thing, again, that wasn't quite a straightforward line. That was a fairly meandering path as well, but
Right.
and also includes time of pandemic and forced indoorsness and all of
So
that stuff.
had you moved to doing the body confidence piece before the pandemic or as it hit?
In the pandemic. So,
Wow.
so body
Wow.
confidence wellness in its form was born during the pandemic. And part of that was because, I had a little bit of extra time on my hands, and I was introduced to the Institute of Body Confidence Coaches and had the time and the drive and the desire to certify as a body confidence coach during that time.
You see,
Um,
I want to speak for everybody else. I had no idea that was actually an institution, a body behind this. So
oh, yes.
this is not your own moniker that you've thought up. This is you are tapping into a resource that's been there for a while.
Oh, yes. I have my official certificate. My official certification is with the Institute of Body Confidence Coaches. And Astrid Longhurst, who created the course, has a background in all sorts of different modalities, including fitness. And fitness is obviously where I came from with Curves. So in terms of the services and the coaching and the packages that I've developed now since becoming a certified body confidence coach is drawing upon the fitness and the physical body. Also, was attuned to and practiced a lot of Reiki and mindfulness just before the pandemic started. So, the packages really tap into all of my physical exercise experience and tools and techniques, as well as, the Reiki. So the metaphysical, the soul, the meditation, the spiritual side of things. And then, of course, being certified by the IBCC then gave me the life coaching and, all of the other bits and pieces. So Astrid, as I said, she's psychotherapist, EFT, EMDR, counseling. She's got a whole list behind her, and she put all of these things together in the course, which really worked for me, because when she started teaching me about the connections between the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the soul body, all of these light bulbs were also going off about the work that I had done at Curves. Because whilst at Curves, it was mostly working with the physical body, not entirely, because, we did do coaching sessions and goal setting and accountability and things like that as well. I didn't officially have the certificate on the wall yet, but, there were elements of doing what I'm doing now then in the premises of the gym. So it all just got put together. All the light bulb moments started going off. I had to do the work for myself too. There were a lot of light bulb moments and a lot of realizations in my own work.
I mean, I may be speaking for other people, and I apologize for that. You look like the person that would least require body confidence, if I'm going to be blunt and brutally honest.
Well, thank you for saying so. I think I was a little bit like a swan or a duck or, any other.
Elegant on the surface, but underneath it, paddling away for dear life.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, and also until I put myself through the course, and until I experienced some of the exercises and the activities, and experienced some of the resistance to some of the exercises and activities, and had to reflect and be like, oh, what? Like, I thought I was just, joining a course here to become certified coach. Where is my resistance? Where are my blocks? And yeah, there were a lot of moments during that course where
you do a lot of growth for yourself during this course.
Yes. A lot of growth. And honestly, there would be times during my Curves times, as I said, it was one of the best times of my life. During the day, it was go, go, go. And I had to be exactly what you just said. I had to have that image and that perception of being super strong, both physically and emotionally, and, being really super put together. I had staff relying on me. I had members relying on me. I had all kinds of people relying on me, where I would get home and it was like the plug was then taken out of me, and it was like, okay, power down.
So until then, dare I say it, you'd kind of been faking it in a way.
Well, no, not faking it, but I think there was also an element to me not even knowing it myself. I put a social media post up a couple of days ago, which I think you commented on, about self-esteem, and this was actually just before I found out about the body confidence coaching course, and before I decided that I was going to certify in just this, is that I was on a networking call. There was a speaker. The speaker was talking about low self-esteem. And as she was going through the list, and she was saying low self-esteem might look like this, might look like this, might look like this. I was, I can feel it through my chest now, even recounting the story. And I was like, yep, that's me. Yeah, I recognize that. Yeah, okay, I resonate with that.
Was it a shock?
It was a surprise.
Right.
It was a lot of that was a surprise. And oh gosh, I turned the screen off on the Zoom call. I put in the chat. Turns out my self-esteem is lower than I thought it was. And I left the Zoom and just sobbed. And that
Interesting.
was a moment. That was a real moment
Okay, let's
for
have a time.
me.
I'm interested in timelines. Give me a timeline roughly when we're talking about, because this is what we would call an epiphany, right?
Yeah, it was July 2020 on a Zoom call during the pandemic.
Wow. So this is close enough. 4 years ago, this is you suddenly got a jolt, which made you look at yourself from outside in, and you realized that there were parts of you that you just felt inwardly very shy, perhaps, and that you just you had blocks.
Yeah, there was a lot to start looking at, and I mean this conversation will go a lot further, and I know we're going to do this in bits and pieces too, but I had just left a relationship. I was living in an accommodation, was temporary accommodation. I had just done my Reiki too, so it's and the pandemic had not long begun, right? So put all of these things together, and I thought, do you know what? This is my perfect opportunity to do my self-reflection, to do my self-work, to start my journey. Like I had started with I would say my spiritual awareness, my spiritual awakening in July 19. So it was about a year into that, but like hadn't really started to properly do the work, and thought, okay, all of these things are, and then looking at previous relationships and looking at patterns, dare I say that I was the common denominator in those bad relationships.
The interesting thing is that you may not have been the cause of them, but there may have been a perpetuation of themes within them all, and that is because you were always the same person in all of them. I always said to other people when they said, I can't understand it. Every time I go for a new job, I always end up being picked upon. I always end up being bullied. It always ends up being me. And I said, could it be that you make yourself a target because of the way you are, and also because you're not illustrating that you're strong, that you have backbone, and the rest of those things? So yes, it's not your fault, but you are the common denominator. Okay,
Yeah,
so here we are.
yeah.
You've had
Without
your
blame on any
absolutely.
side, without, I don't do victim, I don't do blame, I don't do victimy, blamey posts, anything like that, but this is part of my story.
Yeah, and you can only, I think, make a change when you realize what you're making a change to, and also you can only make a real change once you understand where you want to be, where your direction of travel is. So,
Mm.
so at this point, you'd had this realization. How did you know what to change? How did you know what to do next? I mean, somebody had shaken you up now and said, "You're not who you think you are." Now what, Justine?
Yeah, so also because it was during that pandemic time and I was in a temporary accommodation, and I really felt that this was an opportunity for me to practice meditation, practice mindfulness, practice my Reiki, self Reiki, distance Reiki. I something else happened that particular day, that another story, but
Oh,
but I started developing a very, very deep friendship, deep friendship with somebody.
yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And having a
But
deep,
was that all coincidental at the same time, in the same
yeah,
period?
yeah,
Wow, cool.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that relationship could be almost chart your own personal growth as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, at that stage, it was friendship. It was absolutely friendship, and having supportive friends who support you in your business choices and in your personal choices, and just talk to you about things, that's just so incredibly key. Connection, this connection with another human being,
Right.
who was my friend, who really, really drew a lot of this stuff out of me,
Right.
and then, but not even to put anything on anybody other than myself. I started developing a stronger, deeper connection with myself and supporting myself and loving myself a lot more. When I talk about the common denominator in previous relationships, like I would find myself saying things like, oh, if I love enough for both of us, I can make it work. That's not right.
Yeah, that's
There's a
yeah,
lack of love for
yeah.
myself in there.
Yeah, and also it's doing that thing that I see people doing all the time, which is I can't fix the stuff close to home. So if I fix somebody else's stuff,
Mm,
that will distract me away from having to look at my own stuff.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually, sorry guys, I'm gonna draw a halt to it now because I think we've started the ball rolling. We're gonna talk more about these topics in our next live, which will be next week. But I just wanted to say thank you very much, Justine, for entrusting me with some of these close to the bone topics. And I'm hoping that you guys, when you hear this, that you are invigorated by it, that you are reassured that you can find your way through. And I would say to anyone, take the time to have a conversation with Justine. She's easily findable on LinkedIn. Just look up Justine Blanchard, Body Confidence Buddy. You'll find her popping up, her smiley face straight there. Connect to her, and I would recommend at least have an initial conversation, just trying to talk about where you're at and where you'd like to get to. Justine, it's been an absolute pleasure talking today, and I look forward to our next one already. I tell you, to everyone out there, remember the journey of 1,000 steps starts with but a single one, and you don't have to have done everything by the end of day one. You can work your way through it. We have time. But until the next time we meet, I wish all of you very great success in what little is left of the week, and of course, great mental health. Bye bye now.